What is up, guys? I am Matt, back with another video. Today we are going to look at a kit from Vaporesso. It includes their NRG Tank and their Revenger Dual 18650 mod. This is the Revenger Kit. Okay, this is the Revenger Kit, like I said, made by Vaporesso. Also, before I forget to tell you this, you are going to be able to buy these separately, so you'll be able to buy the NRG Tank or the Revenger mod alone. I'm not sure what the costs are going to be with those two, though, but I was told that you are going to be able to get them separately. Now, what this is a dual 18650 mod, goes up to 220 watts. The tank holds 5 mLs of liquid, has some new proprietary coils that at least I have not seen before. They are stainless steel, top fill, pretty good amount of airflow. This does have quick charging, 2 amp charging. It's got the OMNI Board, which you guys know I am a fan of for sure. So right now, let's go ahead and vape it. I have their 30 to 70 watt coil at 65 watts. There's another coil that's made to go even higher, but I kind of like the draw on this one. So, and airflow is wide open. So let's go ahead and vape it now. Yes, very, very nice. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now is dive down to the table and take a closer look at it. All right, big thanks to Coilmaster for sponsoring the up close portion of this video. Links for them will be down in the description below. Today we are looking at the Revenger Kit. Now this is one of the pre-production models, and sometimes with Vaporesso they don't use their final packaging for those, so I'm not sure if this is gonna be the final packaging or not. So you got the standard 2 sides. On this side, you got your mod, you got the tank, spare piece of glass, and an extra coil head. And on this side, you have some directions and a charging cable. And one thing to mention real quick before I forget, this does have the OMNI Board. It has quick charging, USB input protection, remaining charge time, all that good stuff. So pretty advanced. Okay, so let's have a look at the NRG Tank first. Okay, on the bottom there, it says NRG. Delrin base, which is kind of cool. 24.5 millimeter diameter. It's about 42 millimeters from base to that top edge. Would not use this on hybrid top cap mech mods. There's your airflow with hard stops. You got 1 and 2. It's got a nice amount of grip on it. It's got some pretty aggressive texturing. So if you look at it that way, you know, that ring definitely sticks out farther than the base's diameter. It does come with this proprietary drip tip. Not a goon tip, I don't believe. Well, it's got the, you know, the O-ring on there, so I guess you wouldn't call this a goon tip, but I think it's very close to that 810 size, but I don't think just a normal goon tip will fit, and that'll be a little loose. You do have spit back protection in the tip. Obviously a huge bore. Now to fill this, there's a little arrow right there, and it just kind of swings open. See that? It just kind of swings open. There's like a little hinge or something over here. I like the fill method. It's nice and simple. It locks into place really well. So let's look at these coil heads. Now, I don't believe that they have put this coil head into any other device yet. These are stainless steel. The one that's pre-installed, let's get a little bit closer here. It's 0.15, 50 to 110 watts, best at 60 to 80. And that one you have 4 different coils going on, so 4 different holes. And then this other one is also 0.15, rated for 30 to 70 watts, best between 45 and 60, and that has 2 holes. There's what those look like side by side. Kind of like the edges on it, you know, feels like a nut or something like that. You know, like the nuts you screw on stuff. Don't get a dirty mind. Yeah, obviously looking at them, this one's gonna have a little more airflow because those holes are about the same size as those, but there's 4 of them here, 2 of them there. So it's a pretty simple tank. I'm gonna screw this one here with tighter airflow in. And one other thing worth mentioning is that they're all cotton. I don't see any ceramic in there at all. Okay, so you know, Vaporesso is known for their ceramic. Wouldn't shock me if they do come out with a ceramic version of you know, this style coil head. Tip in. Let's go ahead and fill it. One nice thing is you can keep the tip in when you do that slide open. Okay, so now that that's all filled and ready to go, let's go ahead and put this out of the way. Okay, so here is the mod. It is kind of a slick looking device. It's a kind of spaceshipy, kind of a fingerprint magnet though, as you can see. But it definitely has a good feel in the hand. Like here's my Predator that I've been using. It's just about the exact same size. This one is gonna be a little bit lighter though because there's more plastic going on in here. As far as rattle, there's a little rattle in that button. You got a charge port right there, battery venting right there. And up here, the deck of this is 28 millimeters, so a lot of different atomizers will work on this. Now, to get into the battery compartment, there's a little lip, just right there. And so you would just grab this, go like that, and it's off. And these batteries do run in series. Every battery I have tried in here works just fine. There's the inside of that door. This door is metal with some sort of coating, plastic coating or something on the outside. Now, a lot of people ask about 510s because there have been some mods out there that have had 510 problems, including some past Vaporesso mods. So there's that 510, pretty standard looking. It is surrounded by plastic right here though, so we'll go ahead and screw this on and give it a tug. And it's definitely not like the Predator, okay? As far as a gap, mine does not have a gap with the provided tank. We will try my Serpent SMM on this. And that seems to sit down tight as well. As far as paint, you're not gonna have any problem with this because it's got that kind of gloss over the top of it. It's just not the type of paint that usually flakes off. It's not gonna be super, super durable if you drop it because of this plastic and those corners, the plastic corners right there. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's a durable enough mod for my use, but if you're a construction worker or something like that and you're really hard on your stuff, it might not be durable enough for you. So this is the OMNI Board. Okay, I've said before that I really, really like this board. They're all kind of a little different, you know, like the interface, the screen's interface, but they all basically do the same thing. They have that separate mode button right here. Okay, so when you're just in normal wattage mode, you can adjust your wattage just with the left and right buttons. We'll go ahead and go down. It's got the, you know, high, normal, low setting too that we've seen on a lot of these. And then you have this mode button right here that you click 3 times. Okay, and that is how you can get between variable wattage and the curved wattage, okay? That is, I like the curves on this. I don't use temp control much, but I do like the curves on this. I've showed that in like every one of my videos, so I'm not gonna get deeper into it. Every one of my videos on this OMNI board, but it has that same curves function. Now, if you long press the mode button, then you can get into nickel, long press again, stainless steel, long press again, titanium, and there's a little pause between the two. This one has more of a pause than the others. Like you need to stop, you know, take your finger off for like a second. M1, that's TCR. M2, TCR. Bypass. System set. And when you're at system set, you can click this 3 times and then scroll through here. And this is where you would go and like set your wattage when you're doing temp control, okay? Which is kind of a pain in the butt. But like I said, I don't use temp control a lot. I always test these. I'm gonna talk about the temp control a little bit more on this when we go back up top too, because other people have done more in-depth testing on the OMNI board. But I always test these with stainless steel and stuff, but I just don't use it a lot. I've used this in stainless steel mode and the other OMNI boards in stainless steel mode and had success with it, but I think it depends on the build you're putting in and all that stuff. So left, right, that flips your screen. Okay, and you know, if you guys have already seen a review on an OMNI board, you've seen this one. They're all kind of the same button functions and all that stuff. So it's a solid board for my uses. Like I said, I love the curves mode. It's very simple to do. I like the wattage mode. I still use some of my past OMNI board mods and really, really enjoy them. As far as buttons, like I said, there's a little rattle, but it has a nice click to it. There's what it looks like in my hand. It's very, very comfortable. You can thumb fire it like that or fire it that way. Fits great. I like it, but it's not without its faults. So let's go ahead, go back up top, vape this, and talk about it a little more. Okay, so here I have the NRG Tank. Again, 65 watts. Let's vape it. I have it on that high mode right now, on the mod, and it's a little bit too much for that. I found if I chain vape this, it'll be a little burnt at the end. Let's try it at 55 watts. When I'm on just the normal mode, it'll be fine at 65 watts. Yeah, that's a little better. With this coil head that I have in here, they're both 0.15s. It is a little more slightly restricted. This one still has some restriction for sure. I tested out this coil as well, but it is a bit looser. Both of them, flavors on point for sure. Vaporesso always has tanks that are very flavorful. I can definitely respect that from them. I do wish that we saw some ceramic coils. That's one thing I would like to see out of these tanks, because they really shine, because Vaporesso really shines when it comes to their ceramic. Now let's talk pros, cons. We'll go with the tank first. As far as cons, I'm not a huge fan of the spitback protectors there. It changes the vape just a little bit. It's almost like it, cuts through it. Maybe this is total placebo too. I'm not ruling that out, but it's almost like you get this thick plume of vapor coming up, but then it has to go through a bunch of small holes, and it just changes the vape slightly. If you guys know what I'm talking about, let me know. If you think I'm crazy, let me know that too. Well, you guys do that anyway. But I still get plenty of flavor on this, and the draw's not too bad for that type of drip tip. I do wish that, this would take other 810 tips or 510 tips or something. There's no 510 drip tip adapter, at least on the pre-production model. That being said, I don't mind this tip. It's good looking. It doesn't feel bad in my mouth, but it would have been nice to see them give people some more options. Build quality on the tank is on point. It's a very, very hefty tank. It feels well made. I actually think it's pretty good looking as well, especially with this mod. Now let's talk about the mod. The Revenger mod, it has a lot of things going for it and some faults. It feels great in the hand. The ergonomics, I would say, are even better than the Predator ergonomics. I mean, they both feel really nice in the hand, but it's one of those dual 18650 mods that's just a pleasure to use. It's like picking up a stick of butter and vaping it. That was dumb. The button feels great, even though it does have just a little bit of rattle in it, but it's not so much that it bothers me. It's only rattling when I shake it. If I just pick it up, I'm not getting any rattle. But, it's one thing worth mentioning. But I do like the button. One thing I didn't mention in the up close, I don't think, is that the button isn't completely flat. It's got like a little bit of concaveness in the center, so your thumb just fits really nicely on that. Other buttons are good too. No issues with that. The coating, people are going to give me crap because I didn't do this in the up close, so I'll do it now. I'm almost certain that this is not that scratch off type of coating. Yeah, because it feels like it's got like the plastic coat over the top of it, if you know what I'm saying. This is not like the smoke type paint where it can flake off on you or anything. I mean, I could scratch it, but just looking at it, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. It's that type of coating that doesn't flake. You review enough mods and you kind of know. So I have no problem with the coating. A con for me definitely is it's a fingerprint magnet. I don't like to wipe my mods down very often. I have dirty hands a lot if I'm working on tanks or whatever. And I mean, both sides definitely hold quite a bit of fingerprints. So that's a con for me. I don't know, maybe they are coming out with a version that has more of a matte type finish, or like maybe some carbon fiber would look good. That would hide those fingerprints quite a bit. But besides that, looks wise, it's on point. I like the look of it. It's like simple, but still sexy. Now, it's not as durable as like a metal mod, because the center piece right here, the frame, whatever you would want to call that, is plastic. The side panels feel like they're metal, but there's some plastic on those too. So if you were to drop this, maybe it landed on a corner or something like that, or maybe you dropped it and it bent the 510 because the 510 is set. You got a metal 510, but it's set right there in the center of that plastic. You might have some issues with it holding up, but it depends on, I guess, what you do for a living and how hard you are on your mods. I don't baby these things, but I'm not working in construction, so I don't, it's rare that I have a mod that takes a really hard drop. Usually the only time that's happened to me is if it's a really nice fancy wood mod. It's just like horrible luck. But so, I mean, this type of mod is going to hold up just fine for me. It doesn't feel cheap, but it is worth pointing out that you know, it's got more plastic on it than, say, this mod. This mod's got other issues, though, as you guys know. Now, let's talk about temp control real quick with this. We'll just put this out there for you guys. If you're a diehard temp control user, like that's what you're into the science of it, you're into trying different temp control builds all the time, that's your thing. I'm definitely, and I will say this up front, I am not the most in-depth reviewer when it comes to temp control. When I test a mod, I usually have an atomizer that's built with stainless steel. I have, you know, a tank that has stainless steel, or it comes with a tank that has stainless steel, and I'll test that out. And, you know, I'll use that for half a day or whatever and see if there's see how consistent it is and whatnot. But I'm not the type of person that's like setting this up to machines and stuff like that and testing it like guys like DJ LSP and Phil Bissardo. And I definitely respect both of those guys quite a bit. Now, I have seen them both say that the OMNI board does have, I think, some irregularities when it comes to temp control. Some consistencies might be with the ohm reading, stuff like that. I forget exactly what it was, but there are some users that are diehard into TC that have had problems with the OMNI board. Maybe it will be updated or something like that because this is user upgradable. Vaporesso does seem to support their product, so it would be nice to see them do that for sure. Like I said, when I've used the OMNI board in temp control in stainless steel, because that's really what all I like to use with TC nowadays, it's worked fine for me. But I will definitely believe other people because they go way more in depth in it than I do. As far as other modes that this board does have, I love the curves mode in variable wattage mode. You can turn it into variable curves mode. It's pretty great. It's the best out of all the mods out there. The OMNI board really does it the best out of all the mods I've tried so far. It's just super simple to set it on the mod, and you set it, forget about it, and it's really nice to use. And if you just like to use normal variable wattage mode, I've not had any problems yet with my OMNI boards. Again, it's hard for me because I test these mods and I use them, and I've used Vaporesso mods a lot. The OMNI board mods were in my best of 2016 video. I have never had any major problems with them, but I have to listen to other people too. And so I'm just telling you guys other things that I have heard. But as far as me, I haven't had any issues with the OMNI board itself, and they've been pretty damn consistent for me. All in all, it's a nice setup. Definitely one I'm going to continue to use. Is it perfect? No, it's got a few issues, but the pros outweigh the cons for me. I really like the size of this. I use dual 18650 mods majority of the time because they're pocketable, still a good amount of battery life. I like the size of this. That's kind of why I still use the Predator, even though the Predator has some issues too. I like the feel of these. It's not super boxy. They're rounded, you know, so they feel good in the hand. They fit in the pocket well. And just about any tank or atomizer looks good on these. Is it worth buying? Yeah, I think so. Just know that there's some limitations that I pointed out, and as always, watch other reviews too. I'm not sure if any of the US shops have this in stock yet. I will look, and if I find one, I'll put a link in the description. Last time I looked, I only saw pre-orders. I think some of the Chinese sites do have this, and the kit together is around 60 to 70 bucks, something like that. That about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my mod.